What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2 and 5 tips to be a more successful barbarian. Let's go ahead and start things off. Now, first off, when you first get your barb, you're going to want to play around with the stances and have some fun, beat up on the dummies and see what you can do. However, you want to make sure you don't do this in the tavern or in town. And the reason being is no matter what you do and how many abilities you use, you never run out of your resources. So you're not getting a true test as to what you can do and for how long of a duration you can keep that type of onslaught up. Now, the answer to this is the Dawn of the Blood Moon Incursion. I believe that one is Chaos 3. Yes. So let's head on into Dawn of the Blood Moon, and I'll show you why. Alright, and here we go. Now, the reason you come into Dawn of the Blood Moon, as most of you already know, there are target dummies right here next to the building. These are working dummies. Your projectile towers won't shoot at them. However, you can go and melee it and get the same effect that you would in the tavern or the town. Now, the difference here is we are in a map, and if we use, say, Lightning Stance and Siphon Stance, we're going to see our Fury and Wrath are draining down. This is going to give us a more accurate representation of exactly what the Barbarian is going to be able to do. Now, number 2 would be thinking about your stances for Shout and Whirlwind. And we'll come back to Whirlwind again in a moment. However, remember the first stance you put up, say Lightning Stance, is your primary stance. Any other stance you use is your secondary stance and will not affect your Shout or your Whirlwind. Now, whatever your primary stance is, it is going to give an effect to the Shout and the Whirlwind. I like to always keep Lightning Stance as my primary, and it makes my Shout do a little mini Dragolich ability where the target will take, because it is AoE, will take increased damage. And you can keep that up 100% of the time if you use the Echoing Shout shard in the headpiece. 100% uptime, you will always have a Shout ready that's going to make whatever your target is take increased damage. Now, in addition to that, your Whirlwind is going to gain an effect based off of your primary stance as well. In this case, you can see the effect going right there in the Whirlwind with all of the lightning going on. Let's go ahead and work up a little bit more Wrath and Fury here, and we'll take a look at one of the more fun aspects of Whirlwind, and that is traversing the map. Now, like I said, we are going to come back to this again. However, remember your Whirlwind is going to take an additional effect based off of your primary stance. So let's go ahead and take a little damage. And then let's get Siphon Stance up as our primary stance, and then Whirlwind. And we see our health just to continue to climb, and it'll get you all the way full pretty darn quickly, really. It's as effective as standing inside of a tree or in Abyss Lord's heel. In some situations, even more so effective. Now, taking a look at the Barbarians Weapons. I've covered this a little bit on other spotlights and live streams. However, everyone should understand on their Barb exactly how melee weapons work and what those swing speeds mean. So the swing speeds meaning light, medium, or heavy. As we see, this sword is light and this axe is heavy. Now, a light weapon is going to swing faster and hit for less damage. A heavy weapon will swing slower and hit for more damage. This will kind of balance out, to an extent, the two different types of weapons. However, remember that on the Barb, whatever your secondary weapon is, its attack speed is actually controlled from the primary weapon. So if you have a light weapon in the primary slot and a heavy weapon in the secondary slot, you're going to get light weapon speed swings with heavy weapon damage on your offhand or secondary weapon. So no matter what weapon speeds you have, if you have a medium and heavy, a light and a medium, whatever the case is, put the fastest weapon in your primary slot and the slower one in your secondary slot, and that will help you to maximize the amount of damage that you do. Now, number 4, we're going to talk about stances, and more importantly, escape moves. As we all know, the Barbarian does take increased damage. Now, taking damage is all part of the deal. We want to take damage on the Barb because that is going to increase our fury. Now, if we're in our standard issue, lightning stance and siphon stance, and we do get hit really hard by something and get low, the natural instinct is going to be to switch to turtle stance. This is where this is wrong. Turtle stance does turn you into a tank, however, it's going to make your weapons swing very, very slowly. Now, we want that siphon stance to proc, of course. So if we're in our standard setup, it's first in, first out. So if we've got lightning stance as our primary, siphon stance as our secondary, and we switch to turtle stance, it now makes siphon stance our primary stance, turtle stance is our secondary, and although we are very, very tanky, we've got that slow swing speed. Now, until we hit something, we're not going to get any health back from siphon stance. So instead of switching to turtle stance, you've got that lightning and siphon going. When you get low, switch over to tornado stance. This is going to allow you to attack faster and, as you see, get yourself up to full almost instantly. Now, in addition to that, as I mentioned with the Whirlwind and it's being affected by whatever primary stance you're in, let's go ahead and get some resource back here. All right, that's good enough. We've got our lightning stance and our siphon stance in. We take a little damage, however, we also want to traverse the map. Now, if we remember, if we switch to that tornado stance, it removes lightning as our primary, so now anything we hit is going to return a heal to us. In addition to that, if we go into Whirlwind and say we need to get over to this lane, we're going to be going really, really fast because we're in tornado stance. Plus, we've got that heal just channeling on us the entire time. Now, the 5th tip that I like to use is turtle stance and assassins. As most of us know, turtle stance makes you immune to assassin's silence. So if you get turtle stance up in your primary or in your secondary shout, or stance, pardon me, you can put it up in either order, you will not be CC'd by assassins. How glorious is that? Now we can take that one step further, and if you have turtle stance active, not only can you not be CC'd by assassins, but if you pop turtle stance prior to the assassins coming out of the gate, the assassins will not come out. They will just stay in and not even come out to hit you. If you have enough fury built up, they will eventually despawn. However, remember, if you run out of fury, your turtle stance is going to go away and the assassins are going to come, so you'd better be prepared to deal with them. So hopefully these tips help everyone out to having a little bit more fun and being more productive on their barbarians. And thank you all a ton for watching. Click that like button and please subscribe to the channel, and I will be back soon with more Dungeon Defenders 2. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.